In the bottom right of Site Delta, we have Byun. In the top left, it is the Red Zerg Wayne. So a little Korea versus Europe action. Both these guys playing in the NA Open Cup fairly frequently. We also have Clem and Hero here today, who are actually facing each other, and I would have loved to have seen that, but started before I got online. If it's cool, I might try and grab the replays. It's available, but right now we got ourselves a TvZ, one in which Byun is favored, no doubt about that. But Wayne can be very feisty, striking when other Zergs would back away. Does kind of confuzzle, I would say, the general Terran populace, but then maybe especially when it comes to these cross-server fights, where they definitely have fought each other before, just again, because they both play in so many of these Open Cups, but it's still not, I guess, the most familiar feeling in the world. When Byun is so used to fighting more so like Dark and maybe like Ragnarok like yesterday, or Solar. He plays Solar a ton. Facing Wayne is just that little bit of like a offset. They're just like, oh right, he does this instead of that. And since Wayne is the underdog, that is really more the onus is on him to be a little bit odd or cheeky or just better than expected as well. Byun is the one who can feel quite confident coming into this TvZ. He actually is not going to go for his forward 2-racks play, so this is a rare occurrence. He goes for a single barracks, gets the Marine first. If Wayne is anticipating a solid 2-racks Reaper play, then he's going to use his Overlord in a very carefree manner, exactly like this. Now, the Marine does spot it in kind of an awkward zone. I wonder if the Overlord... No, the Overlord can't survive. There's no high ground here, so definitely not a big enough oasis, or whatever you want to call this, to have the Overlord be saved. Second Marine on the way out. This Overlord pillar not going to be reached, so exactly what Byun was planning. This is exactly why you might see Solar go for a very hesitant Overlord, who would have, the first Overlord would have parked itself here, knowing that it's very likely, or certainly like it's possible, I don't know if it's likely, but certainly possible that Byun goes for a Marine opener just to swap things up. Yeah, it's like, likely isn't the right word, because he still does go for his 2-racks openers probably like 80% of the time. You want to get a bunker, and because there's really no defense, there's no scouting. So, no scouting, no defense. So if there was a roach push from Wayne, which is totally feasible, yeah, it would be a little bit awkward with the Overlord being sniped, but, you know, that bunker would be his only lifeline, as the production is only now getting ramped up. With 3 barracks, you'd want a decent amount of bio to really be able to hold some of the early attacks. They don't have that key critical factor unit like a Cyclone or a Siege Tank. So you are a little vulnerable. But in this case, Wayne is going not at all for early game aggression. Actually, complete opposite, really. Early game technology. Once again, going on 2 bases, first and foremost, in this matchup as well. And could be fast mutas, which we don't really see very often anymore. I mean, that's what I'm guessing, because if it was a Nidus Storm, we've already seen the Roachborn, I think, be slapped down. You do not see 2-base muta at all anymore. So, that's why I'm like... Am I sure? Like, am I really sure? All the signs literally point to it. If it quacks and walks like a duck, it's a duck, but it feels very odd seeing a 2-base Spire play. It has not been a very good play for a very long time, because even when it was still being played a little bit more, you know, like years ago, I guess, I recall Scarlet was still occasionally throwing that in her TvZs, and she was one of, I feel like, the last ones to still do it. She struggled, you know, and she got the benefit of extremely good creep spread, as well as an understanding of how to make it work. But, you know, mutas in general really falling off of this matchup. 2-base mutas really falling off. I think the complexity of it, as far as the Terran understanding the pushes and pulls, is not really so bad anymore. The Terrans gotten a lot better against the style of play, as well as just, I guess, the game developing, the maps changing, so on and so forth. But it's definitely a surprise. Unfortunately, in this case, Byun's 3-racks is a better surprise. Wayne's is a box of like Strumong or something, you know? the disgusting Swedish fish stuff. This is a box of chocolates. Banelings are almost done, to be fair, and in fact, they will finish in the nick of time, but that's so many Banelings to make early on. So not as much gas going into the mutas, not as many minerals, it's just so many Banelings. And Byun does a very smart thing here, realizing that this could be a 2-base Spire play, because this is the first time he's scouted, so it's a bit of a weird situation for both players. You know, splits at the last second, that's fantastic, but then also saves his Marines. Now, his production is pretty okay, but it's still 2 tech labs in a reactor, so it's not the best amount of Marine production. And you can see him swapping off at this point. So if he were to lose every single Marine to those Banelings carelessly, then his actual Marine count could be questionable against the growing muta count. Ooh. Iced coffee. It's getting to me. But instead, what Byun's gonna do, actually, is not even just entirely retreat home, depending on his reinforcements and missile turrets. Eventually, they will finish to take care of things, which, you know, there's only 5 mutas, so it's, you know, it's really not that big of a deal. But the Marines stay on the front lines to threaten. And Wayne was not anticipating this, did not have enough Banelings made. He has 6, he's going up to 10, but they're not in position, they're not on creep. The creep wouldn't really get that far away. Lings need to get a surround as well for the number of Marines that are available, and that hatchery is a goner. 7 SCVs do go down, make that 8, make that 9, perhaps 10 or 11, but does that make up for Wayne's already impacted economy for what his build is, as well as the loss of his 3rd hatchery? I don't think so. Although he might get a cancel on Byun's 3rd as well. I mean, this is the mutas are doing surprisingly well. Again, not that many of them, but just catching Byun in that awkward production part of his build. So, 12 SCVs, canceled command center, delayed extra barracks. If he was able to actually save his 3rd hatch, which I don't think is impossible. He would have needed to see the Marines a little bit faster, though, but I don't think it's impossible. Then he would actually be in a pretty... Well, I don't know about good position, but I think, you know, certainly a workable position. Because his drone count is still abysmal. Good old Terrans being able to produce army and workers, right? Imba. And now Wayne's just going to try and go for the odd aggression that can catch someone off guard, but Byun, I think, is now wary of this, having faced Wayne multiple times in these open cups. Gets a little bit of scout out in the map, and then just make sure that his Marines are spread and his tank is siege. In fact, just a Marine spread would probably have done the trick, because it's off of creep, and it really isn't that many Ling Banelings. Like, it's not that impressive. The only thing... It would have worked if the Terran was completely blindsided. Literally just A-moving across the map, because they don't expect the Zerg to be offensive. Which Byun was not caught in that trap. Now has a good upgrade on his side. +1 attack is done. +1 armor over halfway done. He's got his missile turrets and more Marines and a solid amount of production. 5 barracks and 4 reactors. Byun's not going to be losing anytime soon. Wayne's got to go into recovery mode at this point after being forced to go into army mode multiple times. Finally has a breathing room to go into drones, but it's going to have to be so many drones. And then, on only 3 bases, that still won't really be enough. Still not quite saturating all 3 bases, too. Despite his attempts to try and, you know, bust out the larva as much as possible. Because that 3rd hatchery, obviously, was also his production. So 4th hatchery does go down. I mean, it wouldn't be that crazy to see him, you know, try and go for 3rd and 4th at the same time, but he didn't do that. It also wouldn't be that crazy, I feel like, to see a 4th and 5th. And then, ideally, you know, if Byun kills one, you can just transfer to the other. Because you're going to want a macro hatchery at some point, too. Going for Ling, Baneling, Muta, very larva intensive. But not only does the 2-base Muta opener really give you this kind of odd setup, but then the way this game has gone, I mean, you're just like, it's total like intuition at this point. This is not a game plan, really, from either side, I suppose. But Byun, being the Terran, has a little bit more of a rigidity to depend on. Whereas the Zerg player is always like taking risks and doubling down and trying to do all the mechanical things that they just skipped early on, like getting enough larvae, getting enough queens, getting enough creep spread. Where the Terran player didn't really have to skip anything so much. So very difficult game for Wayne. He is trying to play it out to his best ability, and again, his overly aggressive nature at times can sometimes be a benefit. Because again, the Terran player is like, well, at this point in time, you should be building 30 drones. So I should be totally fine. Oh my god, why do you have Ling Baneling? What is happening? So Byun is taking this very seriously, but Wayne is seriously missing out on some crucial elements. Still not a very impressive drone count for the composition that he's going for, behind obviously in upgrades, although not by that much. It's not that bad, actually. And then the creep spread is not very good. It is getting better, because Byun has not gotten back onto the map at all. Certainly one thing mutas do for you, which we, you know, don't talk about often, because mutas don't exist all that much anymore, is that they stop drops, and they stop the little pokes and prods that Byun would 100% be doing if mutas weren't on the field. The 8 Marine drop to the left side, and the double Marine drop to the right side. And the attack through the middle. Especially because the attack to the middle could be met with a surprisingly aggressive Ling Baneling composition. One that's like off-creep aggressively. Or even Burrow, which I'm really happy to see Wayne getting. He has all of this map control. He's really made Byun second guess how this game's supposed to be played out. And Byun's just going to go into more like defensive mode rather than his usual aggression. And so burrowed Banelings all around the map could be fantastic. Muta count's pretty good, by the way. 17. Some mutas have been lost in a little harassment. I think the initial 6 mutas have done more for this game, but so it goes. +2 flyer attacks on the way alongside the 2-2 for the Lings. Infestation pit on the way. Wayne is going to try and get up to that hive. You won't be able to afford a lot of ultras, sorry. And I'm assuming that's his goal. But eventually you will be able to go almost fully into Ling Baneling Ultra, and maybe even some fungals would be nice. Ooh, nice grab there from the mutas, grabbing some pretty critical units. Couple of tanks, a medevac goes down, now interfering with the production, although the missile turrets finish right moment. Right time. Baneling's crashing in, though. This is the surprising aggression that Byun might not have been aware of. He does last-second splits, but all of his splash was taken care of thanks to the mutas. And that was the wombo combo that Wayne was hoping for. Unfortunately, the bio amount still looks too great for the mutas to actually overwhelm. And Byun is going to hold, in fact, almost no problem. It looked a little sketch when his army's all spread out, and you're like, well, how exactly is the Terran doing? But once everything got collected together, you can see that Byun's army is quite good, actually. It's got 2-2 finished up, although so does Wayne. The Marauders were able to tank a little bit, body block a little bit, and the Marines were able to spread out just enough, and also the reinforcements that were stuck in the main dealing with the mutas were able to combine together. But the snipe and the tanks and the lack of widow mines really was a worrying aspect of that defense, and Byun does okay. Wayne did lose a handful more mutas, I believe, in that. Now, yeah, 13 mutas lost, so that's to replace those. The Ultra's Cavern is on the way. Like I said, he probably won't be able to produce a lot, so either he didn't attack at all and was still maxed out, and so you wouldn't be able to produce any Ultras, or he attacks and then has to spend all of his money trying to remax, which he wasn't on an 85 drone economy for the last 8 minutes to build up that bank that lets you remax and remax and remax, the ideal way to play this. He's only been on 85 drones, 4 bases in the last couple. So really having trouble getting to that remax, managing to fit in some upgrades and managing to almost match Byun's supply. Now with a little bit of creep spread ideally on his side, maybe Wayne can buy enough time, but the Ultras really won't be the end-all be-all anyway. The Marauder count's already fairly healthy. The chitinous plating isn't done either, and that you're going to absolutely need before you take an engagement. And Wayne's still going to be in a bit of trouble. He's going to go for another run-by, hoping to catch Byun off guard, but a lot of Marines available. Good pick up there. The door will, I guess, tank the rest, although the SCVs might instead. There we go, pulling the SCVs as well. And if this just buys time, then that's still good enough for Wayne, to a degree. Better than nothing. Wayne needs that breathing room. Needs to get his chitinous plating, needs to get his ultras. And then if he gets a surround, then it's all fair game. But again, the Marauder count's already pretty high, so the ultras... they're really not in the most ideal position. If you can catch someone who's literally on mass Marine with ultras, they're gonna have a tough time taking care of you. But someone who has 15 Marauders, that's pretty good. Especially Byun, like he's gonna be able to focus fire. Although those Marauders so far on the front line get surrounded and killed. Now we're down to just 3 on the front lines. More reinforcements coming in, however, the Marines pull back behind the Marauders, and this is looking a lot better, especially off of that creeping. Chitinous plating still isn't done. 6 seconds. Oh no! Oh, I don't really blame Wayne for taking the engagement, though. He did catch Byun off guard, and the Ultras managed to survive to escape. Now they will have chitinous plating, but the 8 Marine drop on the left side finally coming into play as the mutas were distracted down to 5 only as well, so they can even be focus fired. There you go. And Byun continuing to aggress on the right side just with the main army, realizing that he's got an opportunity. Fungals are on the way, but they're not here quite yet. 4 Ultras trying to come in to save the day. And this is an army they're good against. That is mostly Marines, so that is actually pretty freaking good. Reinforcements of Byun getting careless as they run face first. Widowmine's getting taken care of. Marauders, which are kind of expensive and kind of slow to build, getting taken care of by the Lings as well. Marine drop in the main base was perhaps unexpected from Wayne. He does have to return home. He already has the Ultra Speed, so the Ultra's Cavern. Its loss is still great, but it's not the worst timing, I suppose, to lose the Ultras. He already has 7 of them. Spinecrawler only held on for so much to defend the drones on the right side. Unfortunately, more and more going down, and the drop still being a nuisance. Some Corruptors being produced, however. Obviously, he has a Spire, so that's one thing he could produce. And they're a little sturdier. He can actually put this with the main army and be kind of carefree with them as well. 11 drones in total get taken down. Not the worst set sequence right there. But this is not looking so hot. I'm actually a little surprised that Wayne's still dedicating to this. Very lacking on the Lings and Banelings, so the Ultra is soon to be the only thing left on the field. Plenty of reinforcements here for Byun. I think Wayne is overcommitting. Liberator even coming forward. Now more Lings and Banelings are coming through, so maybe not. Wayne trying to strike when the iron's hot. Might have just chosen the right moment to do so. That Liberator is getting some free shots, but now being taken down by the Liberator. Marauders on their last lives, trying desperately to micro against the Ultras. The bunker helping out. Minute 17. But there you have it. When the Ultras are all by their lonesome, they are so much worse. It was only the Ling Baneling that were coming in little pairs even, like 6, 8 at a time, that even made that look a little questionable, but Byun's production is pretty insane. He does have 8 barracks. He is able to produce off those 8 barracks for the most part, and so Wayne was not able to actually overwhelm like he was hoping. He was obviously a little bit desperate at that point too, so that's why he decided to commit, but in the top right of Alcyone, it is Byun. Bottom left, it is Wayne. Very fun TvZ. The push and pull, the tempo of a classic Ling Baneling Muta versus Bio is still, I would say, unmatched in terms of entertainment. Because especially if you start off with 2-base Muta, it really is start to finish. And as poor as the 2-base Muta can be made to look, because that was actually a pretty good game from a 2-base Muta player, but it's definitely looked worse in the pro games. It can still be very interesting to talk about the dynamics that it gives, even if it's a complete failure. So, you know, because it's different at this point in time. It's different, it's basically new, and there's a chance that even the best Terran player doesn't really read the situation correctly, because it is very different pacing set by the Zerg player who goes for 2-base Muta. So I'm glad that Wayne tries it, and his aggressive nature does add a little bit of spice to it as well, that Byun was almost caught off by. I mean, there is, like, what, 2 examples of Byun being totally prepared for a Ling Baneling army off of creep, and then there was, like, 2 examples of him being unprepared, right? I don't remember exactly, but I think that's kind of what happened. Byun going for a command center first, by the way, so he's really changing up his builds. Apparently, he is trying to move away from being known as the 2 racks opener guy. So he had a 1 racks opener into now a command center first. Now, he was including a command center first with his 2 racks rampage. So he'd like 2 racks 80% of the time, and like command center first 20% or something like that. But, you know, now he's added in that 1 racks opener too. He's certainly playing differently against Wayne. I wonder if this is him just trying to make sure that he is a varied Terran, or if he's doing this because he is playing GSL today or Thursday, I don't remember. But, or if he's doing this because he's facing Wayne, and Wayne had been doing something against him that actually took advantage of the Reaper opener. What that would be, I'm not exactly sure, because the 2 racks forward opener actually does well against, for instance, roaches. But, you know, that could be it. I'm kind of leaning more towards the fact that his... Wait, no, he didn't win GSL, did he? Oh. I'm sorry. All the Byun fans are like, wait, he's still in GSL? No, he's not. Sorry. Whoopsie. Whoopsie. That's awkward. Good thing he's not listening to me. Alright, yeah, so... I don't know, it's either that he's facing Wayne, or he just really doesn't want to be a one-trick pony. It's not really a one-trick pony, though. Like, the reason the 2-Rax opener worked so well for him, no matter how many times he did it, was because the follow-ups were so varied. But anyway, he is doing different things here. So Command Center first into 4 racks, which at the end of the day, it's still the 4 racks that's pretty important here, which is that Wayne is going to be up against a tremendous amount of Marines. Now, he's going to be up against a lot of Marines eventually. Right now, the Marines, not a particularly high number. And they don't have stim. They certainly don't have combat shields. The roaches here from Wayne could be well suited. This is blind, by the way. The Overlord was cautious in this game, thanks to the first one. So it didn't go in and see the lack of 2-Rax opener. Wayne's about to come in and see that it was, a command center. And now... he's gonna realize, like, you're not responding with anything. What's happening here? It's only Marines. But then again, it's only 5 roaches, and the Marines have gotten into high enough number that they will be fine. If it's 5 roaches versus 10 Marines, it's like, but 14 with 4 barracks producing as well. Yeah, Byun's fine. A little supply block, though. Has to build 3 more supply depots, and it's natural. Marauders got stuck, and, yeah, you can see everything's supply blocked currently. Wayne, finding a couple supply depots, probably not worth his significant delay in his 3rd hatch. And the production of roaches so early on, which are quite pricey. He's not going 2-Rax because of the ping. It hadn't deterred him in the past. He's played plenty of North American Open Cups and still gone a 2-Rax opener, so I don't think that would be it. It's going to be a 2-base follow-up. Factories on the way, single engineering base, or at least 2 base first and foremost, I should say. He might still add a 3rd CC. Byun's Marine, now also Marauder push, since he's up against roaches, probably shouldn't attack. Now, if this was Cyril, maybe you would try, just because Cyril knows how much he would need to... basically any Zerg player would have 2 choices, I guess. Like, Cyril included, actually. You either go for a lot of drones very quickly and try to, like, fit it in before they attack you, or you go for a doubling down of the all-in. And the latter option is probably still the most viable one. So, yeah. Whether it's Cyril or Wayne or Solar or whoever, this is probably the more likely option, and it's a good thing that Byun is keeping that in mind. He will scan to the natural, but at the same time, a Marine sees the growing army, and that's far more important, so he's going to back away to his natural, which doesn't have a wall, but does have a bunker. 2 more are on the way. They are not done, not even halfway, but that's a lot of bio with stim and combat shields. Medivacs also could be available kind of soon. Wayne's got to pull the trigger very soon. He's got to go for it pretty much right here, right now. Here we go. Ling's coming in, but that is a wall of bio. Corrosive Bile is not quite killing the bunker. SCV is actually tanking initially. The bunker really not involved at all quite yet. Here we go. Now the SCVs go for the repair as the other 2 bunkers finish. And now the bunkers will be heavily involved. Here come those Medivacs as well. With Medivacs, Sim, combat shields, and a still very large bio army. That should win out against Wayne's. Especially, honestly, this is a mostly Ravager army, which spellcasting-wise is a little dangerous. The bunkers are going to get destroyed, but Byun realizes that's the case, and is more just focused on keeping his unit retention. Because the Ravagers are going to be so vulnerable. Without Lings getting us around and getting the ultimate wombo combo, the bio wins. They just would 100% win if they had Medivacs. Because stimming without Medivacs and then the escape of the Ravagers could still be a little spicy. Yeah, Byun playing that pretty smart. And Wayne also realizing things weren't going to go his way as far as the all-in goes, decides to save his very expensive army. And since he saved 12 Ravagers, you know, now he can focus, if he needs an army, which he will, he can focus on producing, like, just a solid number of Lings and Roaches to protect them, as opposed to having to worry about the supply and cost of Ravagers as well, because 12 is a pretty solid number. 1-1 starts up for Wayne as well, but it's clearly a far way away from actually being done. Supply block after the Overlord kill, too. Wayne trying to get the better opportunity for us around by breaking down these rocks. Now, the bio now all healed up, now also mobile. You could pick up 2 medevacs worth of units and go around. Wayne knows that he has a lot of work to do. And unfortunately, those Lings and Roaches I was talking about to come out to protect the Ravagers, they're not here quite yet, so the Ravager's going to get focused down. And that might be that. Yeah, the Roaches come in at too late of a time. So much of the army already killed. Drones pulled in to be the protectors of the Ravagers, but nonetheless, the Ravagers all get sniped. And that will indeed be game. Wayne certainly tried to play out these far more confusing Zerg games. The start of the 2-base Muta, the start of the 2-base Roaches. He tried his damnedest to actually play this out. Still trying to play this out, actually, just surprisingly enough, but putting himself into too poor of a position. Yeah, Wayne is definitely dead. That's why I'm a little surprised he's still here. Down 15 workers. Down an upgrade because he lost his +1 carapace. Still no roach speed. No 4th base. I guess he's gonna all in again. That's fair. That's actually fair. I mean, you get another chance to all in, sure. But it's not gonna work. 2 tanks, 3 tanks, in fact, and 4. God, I can't count. Keep on arriving. All right, 4 tanks siege up. A little Sim City to work with, and plenty of Marines with superior upgrades. This attempt at a bust is not going to work. Byun pretty confident it's not going to work. Continuing to add on Sim City also lifts up 2 medevacs. It's going to guarantee this is all in by killing Wayne's 3rd base. Yep. Wayne could pull back, but Hatchery probably dies regardless. So he's just gonna punch it. Look at the setup. That's 5 tanks now. Good lord. Even a maxed out Roach army would struggle against that. GG's. Byun gets the 2-0.